Hello crafty friends, welcome back. This is Laura for Crafty Not Shifty. If you're new here, welcome. I am going to be sharing today 10 tips for working with the emark. If you haven't met the emark yet, I'll include a link to a previous video that I've done unboxing and demonstrating how this product works. But if you have one and you're here to figure out how to get the most of it, here are my top 10 tips. So here you have the underside of the emark and you can see the print head. You don't want to touch this, but you can wipe it from top to bottom in a straight line, no zigzags or squiggles, just a straight line with a lint-free cloth. And you can also grab a wipe. This is a mostly dried out baby wipe, and I'm just removing any of the excess ink that just sits in this little kind of print head holder, I guess, within the base of the emark. You want to make sure everything's clean, and you can also grab your app and go to the settings and start the cleaning service. You want to make sure the emark is sat on a piece of paper for this, and your app will tell you when it finishes. So this will leave behind a puddle of ink and will kind of clean and flush out the emark to help improve your printing. I also like to keep my emark in one of these little storage cases. I think it's useful in helping the ink cartridge not to dry out or be too exposed to sunlight whenever you're storing your emark for a while. So moving into tip 2, this is to use the Create app. So I have the original emark here. There is also a version that was created in collaboration with We Are Memory Keepers, which has almost exactly the same functionality, only this one has a port on the back so you can connect it to your computer, so you don't have to use it just with apps. But they also created a new app. So this is the original emark app. You will have seen this in my unboxing video, and this works great with the emark. You can't connect the We Are Memory Keepers version to this app. But with the original emark, you can connect it to this app and send your prints or your emarks to your printer, exactly as I show you in the unboxing video. But what's really great is you can also connect to the Create app. The Create app, which I'll open up in just a second, is a little more geared to crafting. So you can see the icons here in the original emark app. They're great and they're fun and you can use them, but there's a little bit more flexibility and fun, I guess, in the Create app. So here I'm opening up the Create app and I'm going to type in my printer details. If you just want to explore this app, you can actually click to continue without connecting an emark, but I'm going to go ahead and connect mine. I'm just going to delete the word create and type in my printer ID and the password. If you've forgotten yours, there is a little pinhole inside of the emark if you lift off the cover that you can press with a paperclip. I'll have a link below to the COLOP website where it explains how to get your printer details to connect to the app. So here I am in the new app. You can see it's got very different templates. It's a lot more kind of crafter focus and a little bit more kind of fun, I guess, rather than just functional. So I definitely encourage you to explore the Create app if you have the emark or if you have the We Are Memory Keepers version to be able to see all that is on offer with this app. So moving to tip 3, this is to use your emoji keyboard. And this works whether or not you're using the emark app or the Create app. You can go ahead and grab the emojis off your phone or your iPad or whatever device you're using and resize those in your print line. And you'll be able to actually print those emoji images. This is really fun. So you could use like the eyes instead of the 2 O's in the word look, or just print a series of emojis that look kind of cute together. So here I'm printing on some glitter cardstock and I'm using a couple of kind of party emojis. So you'll see how cute these are and kind of very recognizable because they're the emojis we see on our phone all the time. Tip 4 is how to print perfectly straight. You'll notice that I kind of went a little wonky when I printed those. I promise I didn't do it deliberately, but here is one of the best accessories you can get for your emark. It is the ruler. This will work with the We Are Memory Keepers version or the original emark, and it just lets you line up and print perfectly straight. It holds your little emark printer and allows you to see through the window where your printing will land, and you can just go ahead and swipe and you will get perfect placement. It is such a great add-on. It does only work for single line text. Hopefully they'll come out with something that works for the double and triple, but for now, I'm really pleased. Tip 5, this is in a similar vein to the last one. They have these ribbon guides. They come in a 2-pack of 2 sizes. One is for 25mm ribbon and one is for 15. I'm using some cotton bias binding here as my ribbon. It prints really well onto cotton, so you can definitely get hold of some cotton ribbon. COLOP actually sell their own, which you could grab as well. And then you just use this guide for perfect placement. I'm going to change my print here to continuous printing, so it will print those 3 emojis over and over and over again for as long as I swipe, I guess, and I'm just running this through. You can slide it either to the left or the right, but I measured out how much ribbon I wanted and then kind of slid backwards on myself. I find that that works best for my brain. And there you can see it. How cute is that ribbon? I'll give you a bit of a close-up look. I mean, it's not ribbon, it's bias binding, but it was the closest that I had. You do want to work on top of something when printing on ribbon, depending on the thickness of it, because you might get a little bit of ghosting underneath. Mine is mostly on this paper, but there's a little bit on my desk, and that's no problem. I've just got a little alcohol swab, and that will clean that right up. Okay, so let's move into tip 6. This is to use layers for depth in your printing. So here I've got some more emojis, kind of a Halloween vibe, and I'm just layering them one behind the other for depth in my printing. You can actually open up the settings and choose which layer goes in front and which layer goes behind, so you can create really detailed images. If you haven't already joined the Facebook group for the emark, it has so many tips, and this is one I actually learned from Chrissy in the website and the Facebook group rather, so I definitely recommend you head over there, and I'll include a link in the description below to the Facebook group. Chrissy is always on hand if anyone has any questions about the emark. She is kind of straight on it, answering their questions and helping them out and providing short little videos that have tips and tricks. So I'll definitely include that below. It is a great resource and she'll be able to answer your questions on the emark or the create. So here I'm just resizing everything. Love those pumpkins. I think they're so cute. I know Halloween's over, but I filmed this a few days ago, so it was appropriate. So I used one of the fonts included for the letter B, and then I used the emoji keyboard for the pumpkins, the spider web, and the spider. And then I'll just send those to my printer and be able to run that through. Again, I'm just going to use my ruler, and I'll get that perfectly straight, exactly where I want it, so I know where the printing's going to start. And you can always do a test on a scrap of paper if you want to know how long it is, so you can place it just where you want it. So there we have it. Tip 7. So this one's really fun. You can print on tiny items. So here is a wood slice. It's a little difficult to print on because the printer is larger than what I'm trying to print on. So it helps to use the ruler to be able to print on really small things. And here I'm going to take it to the extreme. I have a popsicle stick and I'm going to print the word mint and then like a little plant emoji. And this is just so cute. I think it's adorable. So you can see just how tiny that is. And yet, with the help of the ruler, I've been able to print on that perfectly. And I think it'd look really fun, kind of sat in some plants as like your ID markers. It may wash away with the rain, so you could probably seal that in with some glue. So now, tip 8, we can also use clipart images. So not only can you use your emoji keyboard, but if you actually go to add images and then click the files on your phone, I just jumped to where I had this downloaded because I didn't want to show you all the pictures on my phone, you can insert an image that is a clipart image from the web as long as it's copyright free, or maybe your own logo. It's really interesting. There are so many places that you could take this in terms of what you decide to add in as a clipart image. I decided to use this little coffee. It's kind of a little pumpkin spice. So I've got my takeaway coffee cup, and then I'm resizing my text, and I'm going to change the color. Kind of a bonus tip here: if you don't see the exact shade of color that you want, you can always search for the color code, and that is something that I do, and then enter it manually, so you're not having to pick from the presets. And then look, we have my little clip art image of pumpkin spice. You always want to do your first print on a scrap piece of paper, because whenever you change to printing something different, sometimes it just takes one test run before it's perfect. So tip 8, we're going to jump back into the Create app, and it has a button to download templates. This is really fun. I hope that this library just grows and grows and grows, and maybe we'll have the ability to add our own designs in there for other people to download. I think that would be really fun. And they have all these different categories, and they do get updated, so they change throughout the year, of course, and you can just click to download these templates. And I'm just doing this on my iPad. It might look a little different on an Android. I haven't actually tried it on my phone. But then you want to go to your settings and go to your prints, and there's this button here to kind of update or import yours, and it will take you to your downloads. And then you can just click on the one that you've downloaded. I actually downloaded a few, and you'll see it there as if by magic. So then you can send it to your printer. I'm just going to go ahead and do it again with one more. So click on download, and then you go back into your app, just join up your printer, and then you can just import it by going to your download section and clicking on the one that you want to import, and you'll see it there, and then you can save it or send it to your printer, or make some small edits if you want to. So here I'll just send this to my printer. It will give a little beep and a flash. It's like having a little like R2-D2 on your desk. It will kind of talk to you by lights and sounds to let you know that it's ready. And then I will just swipe away. And there you can see that little party logo that I downloaded. So I think that's really fun to be able to download those templates. So for tip 8, we are sticking in the world of downloads, but this time it's fonts. So I picked a font here from dafont.com, and it's a really great website. It has tons of different fonts. I decided to pick this one at the top, the Shorelines font, and I'm going to go ahead and download that. Then I want to open up where it is downloaded, and I want to make sure that it is saved into my emark folder. So I'm going to go to my download section, and I will click on the font, and I will click on move, and then I'll pick where I want to save it. So on my iPad, within my Create app under emark, and then custom fonts. So once you click on that, it will move the font into that folder, and you can jump back to your Create app, and you'll find that the font is in there as a font selection for you to pick. So here I'll run through, I'll just show you me creating a print design. So I'm going to go ahead and type out handmade by. And then for this, I'm just going to resize it just using the options on the screen. I'm going to resize it and change the font to one of the standard fonts that came with the emark. And then once I'm happy with that, I'll add in the word Laura, and I'm going to change that to my custom font that you can see here. So you can see it is saved there using the same name that the font was labeled on the font website. And I'm just going to resize that. And we're kind of using a couple of the tips here. So I'm using the layers, which is really nice. So we've got the handmade by and then Laura over the top. I'll go ahead and change the color of the fonts. Make sure the Laura is in the foreground, not the background, so you can read it over the top of the handmade by. And you could definitely go ahead and get like some clip art as well, maybe like a paint swatch or something like that to put in the background behind the word handmade by to make it all really pop. It's really fun. The more you play with this and the more you use it, the more ideas you will have. So here I've grabbed a card. It actually had some e-markings on the front. I don't know if you noticed them. And then I'll use my ruler here and just swipe across, and I'll have my handmade by. And look how perfect that is. I made sure to use my ruler so it would be perfectly straight, and I lined up the edge of the window with where I wanted my print to start. So there you have it. They are my top 10 tips for getting the most out of your emark printer. I hope you found some useful tips and I've been able to answer some questions. If you have more tips or some questions that I didn't get to, make sure to leave them in the comments section below. Thank you so much for joining me. On screen right now are a couple more videos that I think you might enjoy, and you can go ahead and click on the logo to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. But that is all from me today. I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye for now.